Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm here today with an advent calendar tree. Super fun. It's really cute. It's, a good size. The total measurements are about 6.5 by 5.25. So this is really cute to fit on your desk. I sized it because I want to put it on top of my drawers that we made last week. So I want mine to sit like that. So I can have 12 days of little snacks and then, one day of a whole bunch of snacks or whatever you want to do. Originally, I was going to teach you how to do hinged boxes because I thought that was cute and it would come out just like this. But the problem is these two, it falls out. And trying to get the boxes back in, it is a little bit frustrating. See how it doesn't easily come back in? I'm gonna have to manually put it in there. Now, for us crafters, that's probably not gonna aggravate you, but your Joe Schmo, it's going to aggravate your customer and they're not gonna come back to your booth in the spring. So we're gonna do pool. See, I can't even get it back in right now because it wants to go in the box instead of beside it. See how frustrating that was? So we're just going to do pool lid boxes, okay? They're easy, they're quick, you're good to go. Now, I wanted my boxes to be 1.25 by 1.25. And so I grabbed my yellow book, the lidded box template, and I plugged in all of my measurements, which they're squares, so they're all going to be 1.25, okay? So 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, 1.25. You're going to do your math, okay? Your math, I'm looking for a pen. From left to right is going to be your left, your right, and your top middle. So plus, no, I'm not left-handed, but it is what it is. So 1.25 plus 1.25 plus 1.25, that's 3 3/4. And then you're going to do your up and down. Your up and down is your top, your bottom, and your bottom middle. So it's the same measurements because it's a square. So 1.25 plus 1.25 plus 1.25 is 3 3/4. Okay, and you want to score them all on all four sides at 1.25. Okay, so I have my pages for the most part cut out. So 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. These are my lids. Okay, so for me, I have 10 green and 2 brown. Okay, here's my other brown box. I already have it put together because I want the tops to be green and I want these two to be brown. Obviously with this paper, this was the Vicky Bouton ribbons. I used this green plaid as the top, and then this is just the other side of the green plaid. It happened to be like a tannish brown, so it worked out. But for this one, I want specifically green and brown. Super cute. All right, so you're gonna score it on 1.25 on all four sides. So 1.25. So you can do 1.25, rotate, 1.25, rotate, 1.25, rotate, 1.25. Okay. Or for these ones, because it is a solid number, they're the 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. It's going to hit at 1.25 and 2.5. Okay. So go ahead and score all 10 of those the same way. These are your lids. Okay. I'll just do another one. So 1.25, 2.5, rotate, 1.25, 2.5. You're going to do all 10 of your lids. Okay. So whether you have, or all 12 of your lids. So whether you have 10 green and 2 brown or however color scheme you went with, you're going to do that, okay? Now, your bottom box, okay? I have not made these boxes in a long time and I completely forgot this one tip and trick. So that ended up me having to cut these boxes. I got frustrated and I had to cut them twice because I'm like, why is this not working? When you score your bottom box, you cannot shortcut it. You have to rotate it every single time because your lines are slightly smaller than your lid. do yourself a favor and do not do the trick like you did with the lids, okay? The lid, you can do 2 score lines at the same time. The bottom, you cannot, okay? Just do yourself a favor. Let me absorb that frustration, okay? Because I've already went through it. So for your bottom box, you are going to cut it just slightly smaller, okay? So I have a Stampin' Up! Board, okay? I'm going to zoom all the way in so you can see this business. Zoom in. Let's see. How far? Good. Can we go a little bit more? Perfect. Okay. So for me, I'm going right here. So you see this is the 3 3/4. Where's a pen? This is the 3 3/4 mark right here. I'm going to this tiny little mark in between, okay? I think that's a 1/16 inch. That's where I'm putting mine, okay? And I'm going to rotate it, and that's where I'm putting it again. Right there, okay? That's the measurement I'm cutting out. That is going to give me my box like this. I know this is super zoomed in, but I still want you to see it. Some people like to go down to the 1/8 of an inch, so they would go to the 3 5/8, which is right here, okay? So it's the longer tick mark there. I don't like that because for me that is too loose. See how much space is all around? It's just too loose for my preference, especially for something like this that we don't want it to be that loose. So if you do the one tiny little tick mark, it's going to be like this, and see, it doesn't fall out. The other one falls out. Where did I just do it? Okay, the other falls out. Like, I mean, to be honest, for this project, it probably doesn't matter, but I don't like that. So that's why I do, yes, that's my chair falling again. No, I don't know how to fix it. I like that tiny little, let's do it again. Get this zoomed in. So there's my 3 3/4. Move it back just a little bit. Bring it to the 3 3/4. Move it back just a little bit. Okay. Oh, you couldn't even see that. All right, let me do it again. Sorry. Forgot I was zoomed all the way in. So I go over here to the 3 3/4 and move it back 1 tick mark. 1 tick mark back from the 3 3/4. Okay, that's how I like to do mine. Now, the second tip with this, I'm gonna go back out. Okay, a little bit in because I don't want y'all seeing my junky desk. There we go. Okay, the other tip with your bottom boxes, you cannot cheat on your scoreboard. Okay, you have to rotate it. You have to do 1 1/4, rotate, 1 1/4, rotate, 1 1/4, rotate. You cannot do the 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 because it is slightly off. Because your paper is slightly smaller. So see, let's see if I can, where you guys can see that really good, really well. Let me zoom in. This is the frustration, and I will show you. Okay, hold on, let me. Even though we scored both of these pieces at 1 1/4, they are slightly off from each other, okay? The score lines are slightly off. We need that because this paper is smaller. So if you try to do the trick, the 1 1/4 and 2 1/2, you're going to be messed up. Let me show you. Your box is going to be off, okay? So perfect. This is one that I did off and I forgot about, I forgot about rotating. So see how this side here is taller and this side here is taller? You can see that. Because these two squares are exact 1 1/4. Guess what that means? That means your top is not going to fit. because it's the same exact size on those two sides. It's not going to fit. You cannot force it, nothing, okay? I mean, I guess you could, but you're going to have a big ol' this, you know. It's going to be ugly. So you cannot. And what frustrated me so much is that when I made the other one, I forgot to rotate my bottom piece, and I had to cut it like 8 times, and I was so frustrated and angry. And then I was like, wait a minute, I do these boxes all the daggone time. What the heck is wrong with me? And I had to go back to last year's box. See, this almost did it again. And figure it out, okay? And that's what it was, is because you have to rotate on that smaller box. All right, there's no shortcut. All right, so once you get all 12 of your bottom cut out and scored, see, I'm paying attention. Okay, paying attention. Then we can go ahead and start cutting. Okay, so what I would suggest to do is work on these in stages, because this is not a quick project. It is going to take you probably an hour or more to do the project. Obviously, the time is different for me, because I keep pausing it and doing the things off camera. So this is not a quick project, okay? I'm going to varnish while I'm talking to you, so that way we can get some stuff done. So what I would do in the past is work on just cutting the tops. So, you know, one lunch break, because my lunch breaks were only 30 minutes, I would cut out all of the tops. And then the next day I would score all of the tops. And then the next day I would cut all of the tops. And then the next day I would put all the tops together. Okay. Now, when I say that, I mean, I'm doing like 5 or 6 of these at a time. So, you know, you have to time 12 times 6 or whatever. Because I was doing 6 advent calendars at a time to sell at my little craft fair thing. So that's how I would do it. And then, then I would cut all of them, and then I would glue all of them. And then I would work on the bottoms. So it's just easier if you do it in stages, so you don't overwhelm yourself. If you're just doing one, I mean, you could probably just do one all in like an hour or so. Put on your favorite show or your audiobook and go for it. But that's how I did it, okay? For me, I'm putting my bottom box in a different color, just so I know exactly what is the bottom box and what is the top, so I don't get them confused, especially if you're doing multiple at a time, okay? You're not going to see your bottom box, and so it doesn't matter what color you use, okay? So there's that. Now, as you can see what I'm doing, actually, I'm going to tell you one more thing. I know somebody's going to be wondering why I chose for my bottom box to be smaller, when if I would have did the bottom box at the full 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, I could have fit a tiny bit more stuff. Well, let me tell you the truth. I did want the bottom box to be the full size, but I started cutting the green paper, and I only had 2 sheets of green paper, and so my lids have to be the bigger piece and my bottom has to be the smaller piece. That's just the way it goes, because I cut that paper 3 3/4 exactly, and I had already scored it all before I realized, dang it, those are my lids. So then I just had to make my bottom boxes that tiny tick mark smaller. So that's the reason. It was an accident. Okay. So it doesn't matter which one you do at, okay, I guess it does matter, because you need your colors to be correct, but if you if you cut your black ones 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, then just make your tops a little bit bigger. Okay, I hope they didn't confuse you, but people who are pro box makers, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so for every single one of these, all 24 pieces, you're going to do the exact same process. You're going to varnish, you're going to put it in your hand like this, cut up the vertical square line, cut off the bulk, miter, and miter. Yeah, that was David in the background. I don't know. Okay, then your next score line, you're going to cut in half, and you're going to miter, and you're going to miter. Okay, apparently he's singing. You're going to rotate, you're going to cut up the score line, you're going to cut off half, you're going to miter, you're going to miter. He's making this peppercorn steak bites. All right, so score line, miter, or cut off the bulk, miter, and miter, okay? So all of your 24 pieces are going to be exactly the same. Let's do a couple of lids, or one lid so you can see, and then I'm going to holler at David to stop singing so I don't go to YouTube jail for having music in the background. Same thing, you're going to varnish, you're going to cut up the score line, you're going to miter, and cut the bulk. That time I bulked and then miter. Just however you get it done, Score line, miter, rotate, score line, half, miter. Okay, score line, half, miter. So once you get in the groove, it does go pretty quickly. Miter. Okay. So for all of your boxes, you're going to take your tabs. I don't like my tabs touching because these are small boxes, and it's going to cause bulk. So you can just cut off more of the bulk. You're going to fold your tabs in. You're going to glue it. But your most important thing is making sure that your glue gets all the way corner to corner on that folded side. Or else you're going to have like a flappy bit. Okay, you're going to bring it up. Just your standard box making. If you were born in the 1900s, this is the boxes that you learned in elementary school. Okay, in the 80s. I'm pretty sure all the people I know that were born late 70s and early 80s know how to make these boxes. Okay. Oh my gosh. David's doing the Little Mermaid, like when the chef in the Little Mermaid was making the fish. That's all that noise is. Okay. This box looks a little off, but I must have just mismeasured or something. I don't know. All right, so you're going to just go ahead and make all of your boxes. I'll just show you one more so you can see the base and the lids are the same. This part anyway. Okay, and you're going to just glue it into that center tab, lining up your fold line. Okay. And depending on how great of a job you did cutting or mitering, you know, it can be slightly off. Like this one, this side is slightly off. I'm not going to freak out by that because it'll be okay. It's just slightly, I didn't cut out all the score line, but you know, some people, their OCD would make them go like this. When I say some people, me. This petty little piece. Okay. So it should fit nicely. Still kind of wet, so just be careful. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. It's wet. Okay. So go ahead and make all 12 of your bases and all 12 of your tops. Okay, so once you have all of your lids and your bottoms cut, cut, scored, cut again, put together. So you're just going to add it on top. Now, one of mine, for whatever reason, I must have cut it too big, or I don't know, but you can either leave your box like this. It's just a little bit of a bowing in there, or you can recut it. I'm choosing just to shoving it in there, okay, because there's just one. All right, so now we need to build them, and we're going to glue just the lids. So I'm starting with my tree trunk, which is going to be 2 of the brown. So we're just going to glue them together, making sure they're nice and lined up. And this project, you do have to let it dry. You have to have the patience, let it dry. So there's the 2. And then for your tree, you need 4. What I'm looking at is, this is the part that wasn't cut, this part was cut, and so I'm just kind of trying to match them up, but I think that's just doing too much. So I'm just going to stick them together. So it's 2 for the tree trunk, 4 for the bottom. And this is where to, like, see how this one is kind of loose. I may switch this one with the one that wasn't in there so nicely, because I don't want to lift my tree up and then my box falls out, okay? So I'm going to find that one that was too tight and stick that one in there. And I don't quite remember. I think it was this one right here. Yeah, it's that one. So you don't want your boxes too loose to where when you barely pick it up, it falls out, especially these 2 on your bottom row, because it will just fall out and you don't want that. There we go. So just kind of make sure that you can lift your row of 4 without the left and right one falling out. Okay, so let that dry. Then you're building up the 3. So 1, glue to this one, 2, and 1 more 3. Then you're going to do the 2, and then you'll just have 1. So just do your 3 and then 2. Okay, so my camera cut off. I guess I ran out of space, or so. I don't know what happened, but my camera cut off. But this is how you're going to glue your boxes. Your 2 trunk pieces, your 4, your 3, your 2, and then your 1. And you're gluing just on your bottom box. So in my case, I glued just on the black, making sure the glue did not touch the green or the brown. It was just on the black, okay? So your little tree here, this is how it opens. You have your first one, and then 2 and 3 open together. Those 3 open together. So this will be fun for like paper clips and that kind of stuff for crafters, where it's not necessarily a secret, you know, because you're going to see everything all at once. Your left and right box are going to be single openings. Now I am only going to use this for decoration, so I glued my left box shut, and I'm probably going to glue my right box shut as well. But if you are using this for a 12-day Advent, then what you'd want to do is add something, a little piece of tape or something that is easily, they can just, you know, peel off or cut or whatever, to get into those two boxes. But like I said, mine is only going to be used for decorative purposes, and I don't need those boxes to be functional. So I might put it on my desk for a little while and put my little clips, or I was going to put these in there, the little bulldog clip thingies. So we'll see. It just made me really happy. And yeah, so that is the tutorial, guys. And thanks for watching. Bye.